One, something I say in a lot of my videos, when getting them out of the enclosure, if you reference my how to pick them up and demonstration videos on getting them out of the enclosure, I also say this: never get them off of their basking spot. You see Echo's running to his basking spot right now. He's going to go hide, but never pick them up off of their basking spots. Always allow them to be safe on their basking spot. Even if it's your convenient time to handle them and they're on their basking spot, leave them alone. Don't schedule it around yourself. They've got to pick the time. When they're on the cool side of their cage or they're in an easy to access hide is the best time to approach them. One, they're less energetic, they're not fired up, and two, you will get a less defensive response. On their basking spot, when a reptile basks in the wild, it's a behavioral defect or autopilot to be more defensive, because basking, they're out in the open. So leave them alone on their basking spot, let that become their safe place. You're already retraining wild behaviors by having them in captivity. So you kind of want to retrain that wild behavior of being stressed or overly cautious on their basking spot to feel safe on their basking spot. This will make them a better display animal and a better animal to have, period. I pet Blue on his basking spot, but after 2 years of having him, I still will not pick him up or remove him from the enclosure from his basking spot. I will call him from his basking spot to offer him food, but I never initiate handling from the basking area. Number 2, rule of thumb, when they are burrowed or deep in, like when he's over behind his water dish, I kind of leave him be. This is because they're already in a defensive position. When he's in his warm hide, I will get him out of the hide, place him on the cool side of his enclosure, and give him a second to start tongue flicking and figure out what has happened, because in the beginning it's all an instinctive response. All of their response to you is what their instincts tell them they should respond, because usually it's a predator. As a hatchling or young monitors will respond to being pulled out of a hide or reached for on their basking spot with defense and aggression, because their instincts tell them those are the actions a predator would take. You are working to curve those prey instincts that they have as a hatchling. Then when they get older, they will be less defensive of you and less challenged by you. Basically, you're numbing them to your exposure while giving them less of a sense that you're a predator or a threat. Now, before Echo here decides to hide even better, you see, even with all of this talking and moving around, because of my techniques and because of my system that I use, he isn't hiding. He didn't retreat to his hide underneath there. He didn't retreat to the cool side of his cage and hide behind or under his water dish. He is sitting in the open, right back here, behind this rock, where I can easily reach for him, while I do still get hissing and tail whipping when getting him out of the cage on occasion. Most of his defensiveness and aggression is gone. Can actually get him out rather, of course, while I'm saying this, he's going to be difficult. You see, I'm getting tail curling, I'm getting neck puffing, and he wants to hide. Now, this is the reason I have the camera at a different setup than I usually do. I want to demonstrate some of the handling methods I use when I have them out of the cage, aside from tent training and bath training. Keep doing them, they're great. Basically do them until you can call your animal from the enclosure, or it is intrigued to see you when you do approach the enclosure. Like Blue right now, because I am talking and because I am doing something in the room, is curious and pacing at his glass. When you start getting that behavior, when they start being interested in your activity, you're done with the bath and tent training. It's not necessary anymore. You've gained that bond. But until then, the bath and tent training, twice a week, once a week, as much as you can, but don't go over twice a week with either. Great methods. Now, when you have them out of the cage, when you are handling them, you'll see right here, the way I'm holding Echo, I have demonstrated this with Blue also. This is what I've come to call the Hidey Hole. You're giving them a place on you to hide. And this right here is like the universal way I have found that most reptiles calm down. Of course, turtles and tortoises, this doesn't work. However, snakes and lizards, excellent for any species. I'm not restraining him. I'm not holding him there. I am keeping my hand tilted against my body and providing him what feels like a crevasse where they would hide, in crevasses in dirt, burrows, gaps between rocks, holes in trees. Nile monitors would more likely climb a tree to get away from a predator than burrow, where savannas and tegus are the other way. However, any of them, even iguanas, are calmer when held like this, and they are still getting positive association with you. You are the safe place. Some people would recommend using a hoodie or putting them in a pocket or letting them hide in your sleeve. I think that's a little too detached. I have found when I try those methods and I do that with them, that when you get them out of those hiding areas, they are more defensive, or even as defensive as they would be if you were starting fresh in the cage. So I don't think putting them in a pocket or your hoodie sleeve or something like that is giving them the proper exposure to be inhibiting those responses that you're trying to prevent. Now, holding them like this is real simple. You saw, as soon as everything was nerve-wracking to him, Echo backed into my hand. Rather than trying to prevent that behavior, give them a place to go. Give them a hiding spot to hide in, and keep it still once they're there. They're still getting the exposure. They're still aware that they're on you and hiding. You see, he's staying there even though my hands are open. And now if I quiet down so I stop stressing him out, I'll show you. Unlike pulling him out of a hoodie pocket, if I simply tilt my hands, he does not get instantly defensive. He is not freaking out, and I can easily tilt him right back into his hiding spot, and he'll calm down. So this is one of my favorite methods to start with young monitors, is holding them like this, giving them a hiding spot in your arms, in your hands, and against your chest, where they can observe and still be exposed. We see his head still out, but they feel safe. They feel less exposed. And eventually, when they calm down about the situation, you see I'm sitting with my back to the cage. Again, as I've said in one of my other videos, that is part of one of my methods. He wants back to his cage, so putting me between him and the cage makes him want to get on me before getting into the cage. He isn't associating it as he wants on me, he wants to the cage, but he has to be less fearful of me to get to his cage. Let's see. But yeah, the hiding hold and sitting with your back to the cage, excellent methods of building trust.